That saying, here comes the judge, here comes the judge. And that's who I have sitting to my left is the judge. And I am so proud of her, I don't know what to do, only because I have known the judge since she was a teenager. Since she was a teenager, and she was one of our cotillion, one of our debutantes in the Delta Mu Lambda Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Cotillion Ball. As a matter of fact, my first wife and I, she was was her lady in waiting. As a matter of fact, this is going back many years. Oh. I remember when Dawn was one of our debutante cotillion participants. But I tell you what, she has come a long way since then. Dawn Blakely-Harper is a native of Paterson, New Jersey, attended Paterson Public Schools and matriculated to Hampton University, Hampton, Virginia, graduating in 1991 with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing, and Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall School of Law, Houston, Texas, graduation in 2001 with a Doctor of Jurisprudence. Immediately after law school, Ms. Harper had the privilege of serving as a law clerk for Passaic County Superior Court's first African-American judge, the Honorable Stephen H. Womack. Subsequent to her clerkship, Ms. Harper was employed by the law office of Teresa Richardson of Paterson, New Jersey, taught legal studies and criminal justice at Gibbs College in Montclair and Livingston, New Jersey, and served as an assistant corporation counsel and assistant municipal prosecutor for the city of Paterson. Ms. Harper is licensed to practice law in New Jersey, United States Federal Court for the District of New Jersey, United States Tax Court, and the United States Supreme Court. Currently, Ms. Harper serves as a municipal court judge for the city of Paterson. In addition to her work with the city of Paterson, Ms. Harper has a private practice specializing in the areas of family law, landlord-tenant, wills and trusts, civil litigation, and bankruptcy. Ms. Harper is married to Damon C. Harper, and they are active members of St. Luke Baptist Church, Paterson. In addition, Ms. Harper serves her community as a board member of Greater Paterson Organization Industrialization Center, member of the Paterson branch of the NAACP, member of the Paterson Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and current president of the Passaic County, New Jersey chapter of the Links Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reading Circle microphone, Judge Dawn Blakely-Harper. Judge, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So nice to be here again.
Yes, indeed. That's right. Yes, indeed. So glad to have you back. And I tell you what, like I said, Dawn and I have known, I've known Dawn since she was about 15 or 16, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting because a couple of weeks ago, you all know I went to a funeral. I went to a very good friend of mine, Janine's funeral, and Dawn was there as well. So I'm walking by, and Dawn says, "Hey, what does sister got to do to get on your radio show?" I said, "All you got to do is ask." So she asked, and I said, "All right, let's set a date." And sure enough, we set today's date, and we are here. So we wanted to talk, there's a couple of things we want to, because Dawn really is here to really promote an event that's going on today. But I want to get into that, and we're going to work our way up to that. But I really want to get into kind of like her history, because I need folks who are in the listening audience to understand just how one can go from one place to another, how they can reach their goals, and how God can bless. And so we want to talk a little bit about it as we're going to work our way up to her, because actually what's going on today is a Black Family Wellness Expo. And it's from 11 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m., and it's going to be in the mall.
Center City Mall.
It's going to be that's right across from my school. My school is directly across the street from that.
Excellent.
That church right there, used to be a church right there. That's my school. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I really want Dawn to work her way up, because I want her to be an inspiration to someone in this listening audience in terms of, because, see, many times, especially when folks get to talking about the city of Paterson, just like in the Bible where they say, can anything good come out of Nazareth? They say the same thing about Paterson, as you know. Can anything good come out of Paterson? And the answer is a resounding yes, because you have two people sitting right here next to each other in this booth who were born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey, and who are extremely successful. So talk a little bit, where did this whole, did you always know you wanted to be a lawyer?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My mother came to me as a child, because I expressed to her my interest in being a professional ballet dancer. That's what I wanted to be. My mom had me in dance classes, and I enjoyed it so much. And I told her one day, when I grew up, I wanted to be a ballet dancer, and she was like, yeah. She was like, I want you to be an attorney. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. What is that? Yeah, but when I was growing up, I wanted to be today's Misty Copeland. And back then, the only example that I had in front of me that I knew of from my research in my local library was a Native American woman by the name of Maria Tallchief. And she was the first Native American prima ballerina for the American Ballet Theater. And I just enjoyed her story so much. And so when I see, when I read the history about Misty Copeland today, because I still follow dance, even though I'm not doing it, her history and her trajectory in the dance world is somewhat similar to Maria Tallchief. So.
Well, it's interesting, Maria, because for those of you who follow me on Facebook, I have been posting women all month for Women's History Month. And Dawn just said Misty Copeland. I'm going to put Misty on in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to post Misty because I've been putting women on there from all walks of life, local as well as international, famous, not famous. Again, just to pay homage and acknowledgement to the contribution of women, because there was a time when folks thought women didn't contribute anything, just like there was a time when folks, and still sometimes, think that African Americans don't contribute anything. But that's not true. So the fact that she mentioned Misty Copeland, I'm going to make sure I put that on the page. So somewhere along the way, though, you realized you weren't going to be the ballet dancer, and you did ultimately wind up doing what your mom said, or was there some detours in between?
I don't know about the detours, but yeah, the older I got, when I started, I guess I started moving away from traditional ballet is when I went to high school, and as a teenager you develop different interests, and I wanted to be in that marching band. And in our community, Kennedy and Eastside respectively had marching bands which mimicked, if I could say that, the HBCU marching band style. And so it was a lot of physical exercise and high stepping, 45-degree angles, toes pointed. There was a lot of exercise involved in it. So much so, I was like, there's no way I could be in this marching band and do dance at the same time. It just cannot be done. And so that is the point where I gave up my dance school studies once I got to high school. And then it was just off to the races from there, going to Hampton. That's one of the first things I did after I hit the campus was audition for the band, because you had to audition just like I had to audition in high school and show myself approved or worthy to these upperclassmen that this freshman was worthy of being on this marching band. And I would never forget Mr. Nelson. If anybody out there who graduated from Eastside High School and know Mr. Nelson was the premier band director at the time of my high school career, that he was the preeminent band director, and he came across me. Even though he knew I went to Kennedy, he was like, "Oh, so you got yourself a winner going to Hampton, huh?" It's like, and it's so ironic that Mr. Nelson's granddaughter now is on the band, is a member of the band as a part of the dance troupe Ebony Fire at Hampton University. He was talking smack to me 30 years ago. Well, now your granddaughter is on Ebony Fire, which is the dance troupe for the Hampton University Marching Pirates.
I know that's right. And you're right in terms of, I know for a fact, Mr. Nelson, whenever at Eastside, we were patterned after Florida A&M and Grambling. Mm-hmm. Those were the two schools. I mean, matter of fact, whenever we got the new band uniforms, they were the exact same uniform as Florida A&M. The only difference was the colors. We had Eastside's colors. Florida A&M, of course, had their colors. So you're absolutely right. And it was patterned, and it was a lot of dance routines. So now you did or did not do the high school band?
I did do the high school.
You did, and then did the college band.
Yes,
all right, so you knew exactly what you were getting to by the time you got to Hampton. Then. So now you get to Hampton. Now you're doing the dance and everything. Still, where did the lawyer? How did we get to finally? Well, the realization was, you know what? I'm not doing dance. I'm going the attorney route.
Well, at high school, I still wasn't thinking about being an attorney. However, you know how that thing is. The Lord orders your steps, even when you do not see how your steps are being ordered. So I've always been a history buff, and I love history. And then I went to high school, and in the 9th grade, because I know they don't teach it anymore, I had what is called as a civics class. Learning about the branches of government and how they work. And I just thought that was absolutely fascinating. And I took to it like a fish to water, if you will. And I became quite adept at it, and I still feel it's important today. You need to know who the mayor of your city is, people. Yeah. I mean, at the very least. You need to know who your council people are, people.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And, outside of the president of the United States, it might be helpful if you know who your congressional representatives are and who your senators are. This is so easy. You learn this as baseline 9th grade civics. That's where I learned it. But from what I understand, they don't teach it anymore like that. And New Jersey is a great state in the fact of they follow the federal system in many ways. On the federal system, we have the executive branch, the president, you have the legislative branch, your Congress, House of Representatives, and then the senators, and then you have your judicial branch. New Jersey works in the same way. They do not deter from it. You have the governor and the executive branch. You have the assembly people, and then you have your state senators and your legislative branch. And then you have your judicial branch in the state of New Jersey. And just like the federal government, where the president makes the appointments to the Supreme Court and to all of the other federal courts, in the state of New Jersey, the governor makes the appointments to all of the, not the municipal courts, but to the superior courts, to the tax courts. In the state of New Jersey, the governor makes those appointments, and all of those potential judges have to be confirmed by the New Jersey Senate Judiciary Committee. So, to me, it's so easy because we don't divert from the federal system. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, this is great. So I really took a liking to that. And then I decided, my history teacher one day was like, oh, the American Legion, local American Legion is having an oratory contest. And you just pick the topic of the Constitution you want to speak about. Oh, okay. All right, I think I could do this. I took a shine to it because my dad, he was in World War II, and I know he was part of the American Legion. And I remember when they used to have big Memorial Day parades here in the city of Patterson, and it used to go from Market Street, and they used to march all the way up to the park where the firehouse is now on McBride Avenue. Yeah. So I was like, of course, yeah, that sounds like something I could do. So my piece that I did was based on the preamble of the Constitution. That's what I spoke on. I came in second place, and the reason why I came in second place is because even though my remarks for the preamble were prepared, it was an 8-minute oratory speech on the preamble of the Constitution. I had that down pat. However, the other part of the contest was they pulled another portion of the Constitution, or they had you pick it, and you had to speak extemporaneously on that part. And I'm going to be honest, at that point, I didn't even know what speaking extemporaneously was yet. And I definitely had not studied the Constitution to the extent that, okay, you just pull any section out and I can just, I can go right to it and have a complete discussion. No. And so that's why I came in second place. There were members of the American Legion in the audience, and I will never forget 2 members, African-American men. In the preamble, is that portion provide for the welfare and defense of the nation. So when I got to that part of the preamble, I spoke about all of the wars, but I left out the Korean conflict. And these former soldiers pulled me to the side and told me you left out the Korean conflict. So I had to learn about the Korean conflict, So it was just being built. And then I got another opportunity to speak again. And once my teachers found out that I can really do this oratorical thing, they started putting me in a part of assembly programs. Right. So Miss Sharon Chambers Smith, who was an English teacher at Kennedy at the time, and Miss Sharon Andrews, Miss Jackie Andrews, formerly Jackie Curry, who at the time was married to the Democratic chairman, John Curry. They started putting me in as the MC in high school of assembly programs, particularly the Black History program, and it just started taking off from there. So now I'm doing all these oratorical things, and I'm speaking on things and not even clicking that I'm on my way, that this is the trajectory I'm on my way to being an attorney. I would have never thought it in a million years. If you had told me in high school that was going to be I still would have said no. Because I'm going to tell you, I saw this film, and it had to be like an Al Pacino film or something, where he was working with an attorney. Al Pacino film, he was involved in some nefarious business. And at the end, the attorney pulled out a gun, and the attorney wound up getting killed, shot. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is not what I wanted. And that was my only reference at the time of an attorney. What I'm watching this Al Pacino film, and I'm like, ain't no way, no way. I don't think that's for me. So, not knowing that the field of law is vast. Right. And that the only attorneys out there are not criminal attorneys. No shade to my criminal attorneys out there, because we have some fine ones, especially coming out the city of Patterson. So I'll shout out my colleague Kenyatta Stewart, who is a criminal defense attorney from the city of Patterson, and also another legal lion, Charles Thomas, who does criminal defense work. So I'll just shout them out. No shade at all to my criminal defense attorneys, but I know that is not an area for me.
So all right, now, so in order to be a lawyer, just like teacher, principal, whatever, you have to pass a test. And in law, that test is called the bar.
Oh, yeah.
What was that experience? Because I know like for the praxis teachers, like have taken 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I've heard lawyers who've had to take the bar multiple times. What was the bar like for you? What was it like even getting prepared for that?
Oh, I was definitely a multiple bar taker. I was definitely a multiple bar taker. It whipped my butt. It really did. And you have to have such a high level of concentration when taking that exam. I mean, almost like writers do sabbaticals to push out their books and things of that. I think, well, for me, I needed that level of concentration of space. As long as I had a distraction, it wouldn't have gotten done. But I did manage to get to a point where I would isolate myself from the rest of the world. And when my friends and my sorority sisters and my family saw that I was serious, they gave me the space to do what I needed to do. I went to work. I came home. I studied because before my level of study was not where it needed to be, and I admit that. So the bar is given twice a year. It is given in July, and it's given in February, and that's across the nation. That's not just in New Jersey. Everybody takes it at the same time. And I suffice it to say, I am not a July bar taker. The distraction of the summertime is just too much. I want to be outside. No, it doesn't work. I am a February bar taker because it's cold. I want to be inside so I can study all day. But I am the type of person that had to use a different type of study method than I used in college. I had to use the speak, read, write study method. So not only did I have to read it, I had to say it aloud to myself, and then I had to write it to reinforce it. I had lessons on compact disc, if anybody can remember that. The car I was driving at the time had a compact disc player, and so what I used to do in the morning when I was teaching at Gibbs College in Livingston, it was quite a little drive from Patterson to Livingston. I'd pop that CD in, and I'd be listening to the lecture all the way to work, and then all the way back home. And so I had a serious immersion in my study process for the bar, and that was the year that I passed when I really immersed myself. And so, yeah, you could pull anything out the Constitution now, and yes, I can have a conversation. I've come a long way since that American Legion oratorical contest. I can now speak extemporaneously on any subject, any area of the Constitution, and where I could not do it before. And you're constantly learning. Because even though in law school they teach you the different parts of the Constitution, things happen where you're learning new things. I can honestly say that in law school we were not getting in to Article 2, Section 3 about presidential immunity. What's going on currently with the former president and his quest for immunity. Now the Supreme Court has to decide this issue. And recently they decided another issue about anyone engaging in insurrectionist acts where you had a number of states remove him from the election ballot. So I can honestly say in law school, we did not go over those types of things. So you're constantly learning, just like educators Lawyers have to take CLE classes, which is continuing legal education classes. We have to take 12 credits a year. So we have to constantly learn. The law is always changing. And then if the law isn't changing, there are incidents arising which brings up areas of the Constitution and other areas of law that people haven't looked at in 100 years. This whole immunity thing and insurrectionist activity, nobody has looked at those portions of the Constitution since the Civil War.
No, you're absolutely right, because it hasn't happened. Matter of fact, when the framers were putting it together, I don't think they had that in mind, or they imagined that it would happen. So for those of you, if you're just joining me, I truly hope you've been with me since 6, but I really, really hope you've been with me since 7. My guest this morning is Dawn Blakely-Harper, and Dawn is actually a municipal judge. We're working our way up to that, as well as she has other community and civic activities as well, and that's why she really came today. But I wanted folks to really get a history, because this is an African-American woman who is doing it. Because, see, again, there's an attack on African-American women. In terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, there's an attack. And so I have an African-American female judge who, as I said, we're working our way up to, because if it can happen for Dawn, if you really want to, you just heard her talk about how she had to study for that bar. The bar is no joke. My aunt was married to an attorney. He's passed away, but I remember when he was studying for the bar is no joke. And I've heard, I have lawyer friends, and they all share with me their stories about trying to get past the bar. But once you get past it, you're past it. But as Dawn just said, you do have to continue with your education. Absolutely. So while we're on that, because I'm going to go back to now you becoming a judge in a minute, but since you brought up the whole insurrection, and now they got this whole thing now, just yesterday, the judge ruled on the DA in Georgia in terms of Fannie Willis, where he kind of said, well, one of y'all got to go. I thought the ruling was fair. I thought that was just. As a judge, as we're going to work our way into you being a judge, how do you come up with what your ruling is going to be?
Well, just like you are taught in law school, you have to look at the facts. And you have to look at the law and see where they meet up at, and and does the fact pattern of what happened here fit the law or fit the area of disqualification in Miss Willis's case? And it did not. Her alleged, or well, it's not alleged. Her relationship with Mr. Wade did not rise to the fact of having her dismissed from the case. However, Ms. Willis did have an ethical dilemma here. So I want to just say this because I was speaking to someone else on Urban View about this very issue. And I was saying to them, it is not uncommon for prosecutors to appoint special prosecutors in a particular case, even if they do not have criminal defense backgrounds. We saw that most recently with Attorney General Ellison in Minnesota on the George Floyd case. He appointed 2 special prosecutors that did not have any background in criminal prosecutions whatsoever. So that's not uncommon. Where the ethical dilemma comes in is that you're having a relationship with your special prosecutor. Right. That's a problem. And so Attorney General Ellison obviously did not have that issue in the George Floyd case. However, but this is what we see in the Fannie Willis situation. So I think that the judge came to a sound conclusion by saying that Mr. Wade had to depart this particular case. It wasn't a good look. It was not a smart decision because as big as Atlanta is, as big as Fulton County is, someone always sees, knows something. The world is smaller than you think it to be.
Absolutely.
And to use a Southern expression, bless her heart. If Miss Willis thought that, or Mr. Wade, or bless both of their hearts, if they thought that someone wasn't going to say anything. I mean, especially when you have the prosecution of your career to date on the line.
Right. That's the same thing I said. I don't think it was the best choice.
No.
Out of all the lawyers I could care less if she had the relationship with him, but just don't pick him and put him on your team.
Right. Yeah,
because like you said, somebody's going to. But I'm saying all that to say, I do think the judge came to, like you just said, it was like, okay, makes perfect sense to me in terms of, okay, when do you got to go? And he left the choice to her. Now, you know good and well, she was not going to say, well, I'm going to be the one to go.
Right.
But I thought it was a just decision. So now I'm going to jump back a little bit because, you went now, you did, because this is the power of words. Your mom had already spoke it. Right. All right, this is the power of words. I'm a true believer in the power of words. Your mom had spoke it. It ultimately came to pass. But now, not only did you become an attorney, now you become a judge. What went on there? How did you go from attorney to judge?
Now, this is what I call my my Patterson moment. And when I say Patterson, I am not talking about the city of Patterson. I am talking about former governor of New York, David Patterson. This is my Patterson moment. So if anyone out there knows anything about Governor David Patterson, at one time he was the lieutenant governor of the state of New York. So when one day he said he was going about his day, he said that the staff informed him that the governor at the time, who was Eliot Spitzer, could not appear at a function. And it's like, no problem. I'll fill in. I'll do what I need to do. And then so he did the function, and then he went back, to the State House, to his office, and, was about to do work. And then he was hearing some murmurings in the hallway, and, he wasn't paying too much attention to it. However, he went back to his office and he said, I'm going to have some lunch. He said he was eating a sandwich. And as he was about to bite down into his sandwich, the state troopers burst into his office and was like, Lieutenant Governor, you have to come with us. And that was the moment that he found out that Eliot Spitzer was resigning as governor and he was about to be the new governor of the state of New York. Well, my moment was a little bit similar. I had been working as a prosecutor and assistant corporation counsel for the city of Patterson. And I was seated at my desk. I was having lunch at my desk, and I was about to bite into my sandwich. And Mayor Jose Joey Torres burst into the law department. I mean, he just came right in, burst the door wide open. He saw me sitting at my desk, and he's like, you, come into the conference room. It's like, Donnie, I want to speak to you. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to have this sandwich right now. So we go into the conference room, and he tells me at that time that he was going to put my name in or appoint me to be a judge. He said, I had always told your mother that I was going to do that. Now, I didn't know what conversations that he was having with my mom. And God bless Mama. Even though we lost her last year, Mama is still with us.
That's right.
And I didn't know he was having his conversations with her, but apparently he was. And so he said he was going to appoint me, and I asked him, I said, I need a minute, because when someone tells you you're about to be elevated like that, you need a minute to breathe. And I had to tell my husband, because there were going to be some changes that were coming around. And so I had to prepare my household for this change if we decided to accept this appointment. And so I did. And my husband, thank God he was on board. and I was appointed in June of 20. I was sworn in June of 2017 to the Patterson Municipal Court.
I tell you, congratulations. Even, if we congratulate you to them, I'm going to congratulate you here on the air, because, that's significant. That is a significant accomplishment. Again, because, African-American, female. Everything is not about race and gender, but at the same time, everything is. All right. So the fact that Dawn has made it to this level, and I told you earlier, I've known Dawn since she was a teenager. I've known her since she was a debutante and a cotillion until a now judge in the same city. And she's doing a wonderful work. So whenever you walk in, everybody's all rise.
Well, that was.
Do they still do that?
That was prior to the pandemic.
To the pandemic, that's right.
That was prior to the pandemic. As they do the all rise and everyone stands and all that great stuff. However, we are in some would say still, and some would say post, but we're in a post-pandemic atmosphere now. And so in the municipal courts throughout the state of New Jersey, and Patterson is no exception, all of our court sessions are virtual now.
They're still virtual? I didn't realize that. I thought they had gone back to live.
Now they're only live for our trials.
Gotcha.
And actually, the defendant has to request in person. If the defendant or the defendant's attorney requests in-person trial, then we have to set aside time and make an in-person day for the persons to have their trials.
And that's for all law, whether it's family, whether it's criminal, whether it's it's all of it, or is it just specific portions?
Now, if in the municipal court, we do traffic,
right,
and we do criminal.
Right.
Now, as for family law, I will speak on that briefly because in my private practice, I am a family attorney. So there are 2 superior courts right now that it is mandatory that you come to court in person, and that is Middlesex County and Atlantic County. You have to come in person for those types of court proceedings. However, I can, in Passaic County Superior Court, for certain family matters, especially simple divorces. These are divorces that are non-contest, and the parties have agreed. They have a marital settlement agreement in place. They're done via Zoom, and we don't have to come in. But if it's contested, 9 times out of 10, those judges are gonna call you in. Okay, right. Where are we? What are we doing? But for the most part, Passaic County, Bergen County, the courts that I've been in for family law cases, Monmouth County, I have not had to come in person. Essex County is creeping back in, but for the most part, even Essex County, I did everything online up until a certain point.
I just knew that everything had pretty much gone back to everything being live. I didn't realize that everything was still on Zoom.
Actually, Chief Justice Ravner, who is the Chief Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court, they have found that the municipal courts have been quite successful in moving the cases via Zoom. So they like the municipal courts being on Zoom. And hey, when your numbers are so that you're moving and closing and moving your cases, and it's a faster way.
That makes sense.
They really like it.
Even with us, all of our meetings with the superintendent prior to the pandemic were always live at the Board of Education. Since the pandemic, all of our meetings with the superintendent have been virtual. So that makes sense to me. So now, Delta Sigma Theta. Did you pledge in college or you pledged alumni?
Alumni.
You did alumni. Alumni, right.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so you're in, my daughters are in that chapter. My former wife is in that chapter. A lot of women in the city of Patterson are in Delta Sigma Theta. So what is it? Red and white, right?
No, crimson and cream.
That's what I was going to say that, but I ain't want to get confused. So it is crimson and cream. All right, that's what I thought it was. So you got the crimson and cream. All right, and I see here your board member on Greater Patterson Organization. I know that as OIC.
Yes, that
is Harvey not still there? Is Harvey still there?
Yeah, Harvey's still.
So Harvey's still there.
Harvey's still holding down the fort. You know, he's like partially retired.
Okay. Every time I hear OIC, I think of Harvey. But now you're the current president of, and I think I saw one of your members the other day, Dr. Crystal Lassiter.
Yes,
she's a part of that.
Yeah,
all right. I saw her at our playoff basketball game, and we had a nice conversation. But I told her you were going to be on the air this morning. She told me you were her president, and I said, it's the Lynx. All right. So let's talk a little bit. First off, what is the Lynx?
Oh, wow. The Lynx is a community service organization, women's organization based on friendship and service. Started in Philadelphia in 1946, November 9th, 1946. Two friends got together. Hey, you know how these things get started.
That's right.
These things happen. And it just snowballed from there. So in Philadelphia, in November of 1946, two friends, Margaret Roselle Hawkins and Sarah Strickland Scott of Philadelphia, Girls High graduates, anyone who knows anything about the Philadelphia education system, Girls High is one of the premier high schools in Philadelphia to this day. They are both graduates of Girls High and did remarkable things with their lives. But, the times were the times. And they wanted to do more for their community, but they wanted to do it amongst their group of friends. So they invited additional friends, which started the mother chapter. But at the time, it was just called the Philadelphia Club. And so they just had little clubs. And of course, being that they were in Philadelphia, of course, they had to start a club in New Jersey. And the Atlantic City chapter last year celebrated 75 years in existence for their club, because their Atlantic City was one of the earliest ones. So Philly and New Jersey, there's a history there. However, now the Lynx chapters have grown to 299 to date of chapters throughout the nation, and over 17,000 women across the nation. And it is high in its philanthropy. As a matter of fact, the Lynx Incorporated national organization has a grant that it gives certain entities, and the Lynx organization gave $1 million to the Obama Library being built in Chicago. However, as to Passaic County, we are a new chapter. We were chartered in 2022.
Real new.
Yes, on our way out of the pandemic. But we were chartered in, 2022, and we're forging our way. So we had to organize. We had to develop our projects and show ourselves approved once again to the National Links Organization so that we could receive a charter here in Passaic County. Just so you know that there are Links chapters in Bergen County, Morris County, Essex County.
So you're all over the state.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Right, and we had these organizations around us, but we did not have one that was servicing Passaic County, and so a group of us got together, and we have some fine women in our organization, including Dr. Lassiter, who you mentioned. And she was with us last night because last night we were at the Center City Mall, moving tables, putting up things, getting ready for the Black Family Wellness Expo 2024.
Which is a wonderful segue. And talk about that, because like I see St. Joseph's Hospital, blood pressure screening, pre-diabetes self-test, pharmacist, prescription reading, health resources, Patterson Board of Health, Children in Lead, Communicable Disease Survey, Patterson Division of Recreation, Patterson Public Schools, Family Resource Center, Children's Aid and Family Services, Children's Services and Resources, Partnership for Maternal and Child Health, Early Childhood Development, Prenatal Care and Services, COVID-19 testing, and Patterson Community Policing, and more. So that's going to be today from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. down in the City Mall, right in downtown Patterson. It's 18th Smith Street, Patterson. You talk about what are your objectives? What do you hope? What are you looking for?
So, we already know that there are disparities when it comes to healthcare in the Black family. We have a high rate of diabetes. We have a higher rate of late-stage cancer detection across the board, whether it's prostate, breast, ovarian, just because of our healthcare habits, also our dietary habits. You know, African Americans suffer from diabetes a great deal, yes. And I am one. I was diagnosed with diabetes last year, so I'm currently on medication for that, and my diet had to change because of it. So this Wellness Expo, I have to admit, is the brainchild of the National Links Incorporated Program Director. And basically it is a national initiative, and they funnel it down to all of the chapters. Now, mind you, there are some older chapters like Atlantic City and Morris County who already have health fairs that they do. However, us being a new chapter, this was kind of said, you're going to do this. Okay. So this is a new initiative. We first brought it to the Patterson or Passaic County community last year. It was very successful. And so we have capable Links sisters who are in our health and human services facet, who are bringing this event to life again today. And so this is a wellness expo for the entire family. There will be experts and servicers and vendors there that can service our pediatric to our geriatric family members. So no one is left out. No one is left behind. It is to service the whole family, the entire African-American family, because of the historic medical disparities in our community. Some of them are our own doing, where we have to become more educated, and some are, the doing of the systems themselves, and so we have to learn how to advocate for our own health care. It's a different type of advocacy than what I do in my daily life in the realm of law. But you have to know certain things about your health in order to advocate for the proper care that you need for your entire wellness.
You bring up so many good points. And for those of you in the area, or even if you're not in the area, take the drive. It's worth the drive. Make your way to Patterson, to the Center City Mall for the expo, the Black Family Wellness Expo. And Dawn is absolutely right. A lot of our health and medical issues stem from our history. In terms of our dietary habits, so forth and so on, that was the food we were given as slaves. So a lot of the things that we eat, and everybody think we all have all this pork and fat back and chitlins and all that was the leftover stuff that were given to the slaves, and we continued those traditions on. But like she said, with education, we learned, you know what, no, I'm not going to take that into my system, because that is what's causing the high blood pressure. That's what's causing the diabetes. That's what's causing all these different diseases. Because at the end of the day, if you got a choice between health and wealth, you better take health every time. And I'm talking from personal experience, I'm talking from family experience. Right now, I have my mother. She's been dealing with diabetes for over 40 years. And now it's come to a critical head with her being 85 years old. My sister, she's having health issues associated with high blood pressure and diabetes. And his company is coming to a head, and she's nowhere near the age of my mother. But again, historically, particularly in African-American families, we have certain foods that we have eaten because that's what was given to us. We were given the scraps. And as always, we make something out of nothing. But over time, we continue to do that, and it's costing us. So as we become educated and we know to eat better foods, exercise, because I was diagnosed pre-diabetic some years ago. And my doctor said, look, if you exercise and change your diet, I can keep you off medication. I said, that's a deal. So I've had to do that for I have to be very, sugar, you can forget that. I mean, everything I look at, I'm looking at sugar content. Yeah. How many grams are in this? So there are certain changes you have to make. But as I was saying a couple of minutes ago, if you got a choice between health and wealth, you better take the health, because you could lose your money and get that back as long as you have your health. You lose your health, you ain't gonna be able to make your money back. If I had a choice, I don't want to lose either one. But if I had a choice, I would rather lose the wealth, because if I have my health, I can figure out a way to get my wealth back. It doesn't necessarily work the other way around. If you got a choice between those two, I cannot admonish you more. I cannot, encourage you more to take care of the health. If you take care of the health, you can work toward getting the wealth. And that's what this fair is about today, is to give us some education and some screenings. Because this is the other thing. A lot of times we have this stuff and we don't know we have it.
Exactly.
We're walking around here thinking we fine. And then you go and you take a test. What? Mm-hmm. I have what? Mm-hmm. My numbers are what?
Absolutely.
You got so many that you got colon cancer, you got the like she said, diabetes, and see, this is the other thing. Men don't realize that men can get breast cancer too. Everybody think that breast cancer is a female thing. No, men can get breast cancer as well. And we're in this time where you just heard us talking about COVID. There's that thing called long COVID.
Yes.
Everybody think because they had COVID and they got by it. No, there's that thing called long COVID. So again, there's a whole bunch of screenings here, a bunch of health resources that, I encourage everyone who can, if you're in the area, particularly those in the Patterson area, and most people in the Patterson area are in walking distance for the most part, unless you're in way out there in 6th Ward, close to Clifton. Even that is walking. You can walk there if you really want to. It's just a matter of walking down Main Street.
Right.
And so
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much walk straight down Main Street. You're there. But it's in the City Mall. Get in there and have the opportunity. I see free giveaways.
Oh, yeah. We have games for the children. So there's something for everyone.
All right. Anything else you want to share? Again, it's from 11 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. today, March the 16th. Dawn asked, they say, ask and you shall receive. She asked me that day at the funeral what a sister had to do. I said, all you had to do was ask. And she did, and she's here. But again, seriously, we want you to come on out to the Black Family Wellness Expo, because that's why she wanted to come on, to really promote that. This is a part of her promotion of the expo. And I can tell you, if there ever was a time in terms of health that we need something like this along these lines, there is no such thing as too much of that. There's no such thing. We need as much education as we can get. Because, you're talking pancreatic cancer, you're talking ovarian cancers, you're talking colon cancers, you're talking high blood pressure, you're talking diabetes, you're talking tumors, you're talking fibroids, you're talking cysts, you are talking so many different ailments and issues. And if you ever look at these, my sister and I laugh at this all the time. If you ever look at the medication commercials, everybody's always singing and dancing. Everyone's cured. Everyone just take this and you're singing and dancing. Truth of the matter is, first you need to find out if you got it or not. That's the second thing. That's the first thing. And then when you do, you need to understand how to manage it. Because a lot of these things, they can't be cured. You can only manage it. Mm-hmm. Once you get them, all you can do is manage. You can't cure. We need to know how to do that. What you can eat and not eat. What you can drink and not drink. How much you can. How little you can. What happens if your blood sugar drops too low? What happens if your blood sugar goes too high? Same thing with blood pressure. So again, all of these things are going to be addressed at the Black Family Wellness Expo that is sponsored by the Links Incorporated. Judge Blakely-Harper is the president of is it the Passaic County chapter or the Patterson chapter?
Passaic County.
Passaic County chapter. Okay, so and what the whole county falls under that?
The entire county.
All right, now.
Yes, from down county to up county. So if you're in Ringwood, come on down and see us in Patterson. Patterson is not at the southernmost tip of down county, but hey, if you're in Clifton or Passaic, come see us. Little Falls, Wayne, come see us. Come on out and check us out.
All right, so see, that's another one. I didn't even mention sickle cell because that's predominantly African American. Sickle cell, coping with loneliness. Oh my goodness, the vulnerability of joy.
Yes, mental health. As you know, the stigma has been removed.
Yes.
We are having more conversations about mental health and wealth in those spaces and coping mechanisms. So, yes, we have a whole section that's being presented today on maximizing mental health.
Yeah, and again, it stands to reason with everything we went through with COVID, but because I am convinced that COVID tipped off or either exacerbated anybody who was having mental health issues. And I think it's actually caused some folks who didn't have it. That whole period, that stretch of time that we were isolated, I think it messed with a lot of folks' minds. And again, as Dawn just said, there was always kind of stigma associated with that. But mental health is just like physical health. It's an issue. It's a disease. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. And like she said, now that it's been brought up to the forefront of people talking about it, if you need help, please get it. Do not be ashamed. I know, again, for the African-American community, we're not the most trusting of doctors, again, based on history. But there's nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing wrong with seeing a psychologist or psychiatrist. There's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. There's nothing wrong with talking to people. So they're offering this opportunity. You never know what connections you will make at this expo. You never know what services you will be able to say, hey, I can use your service. You never know. So today from 11 to 2 down at the City Mall in Patterson, New Jersey, Dawn will be there. All of the Links ladies. Is it just women or is it men too? It's just women, right? It's men too?
What, in the organization? No, it's just
women.
That's
women. So all the Links ladies will be there. It serves dual purpose. You got the health. You got the Women's History Month, because I've really been playing up Women's History Month on Facebook.
And speaking about mental health, I'm going to tell you, what did it for me was tennis star Naomi Osaka. You already saw that when she won her first Grand Slam against Serena Williams, she was already shy and withdrawn, and she was the winner. Where you have to have Serena, she showed the utmost grace and say, settle down. She is the winner. And she was already introvert. She's a very much of an introvert. But then when she was at another international tennis match where she were just peppering her with questions, she said, I got to stop.
Absolutely. And they did the same thing to Simone Biles. She was on the balance beam or whatever. And she did the same thing. Like, mentally, I'm not here. I can't do that. Then Press did the same thing.
But I thought I thought that was just the most thing. She stood up for herself in that moment, even though she is not the type of person who is a in-your-face type of sports figure or a celebrity. For her to just stand up for herself in that moment, say, I cannot do this. My mental health is not where I want it to be.
I agree with you 100%.
And so it forced me at that moment to take a new look. I'm like, okay, my experience with mental health has not been the same. You know, I had an aunt that suffered from dementia or Alzheimer's. And, you know, my family members was like, oh, get yourself together. You know, that type of situation like that. Oh, snap out of it type of situation. But it was that press conference with Naomi Osaka that did it for me. I was like, now I understand. I truly, truly understand. And we've had advocates in Passaic County and Patterson for a number of years now that have been on the front lines of mental health. But sometimes it just takes something, an incident like that, for it to really drive home. I don't know Miss Osaka from Boo Boo the Kitty. I don't know her. As she's not a close family relative or anything like that. But it was that moment that struck me and did it for me.
Agreed. Like I said, I was the same way with both of them, because both of them, like I said, first off, with the stigmatization of it, and for you to be famous and everybody can see and hear and everybody get to whispering and questioning and wondering. But you're right, because I told you earlier, my mom with health challenges, dementia has started. And my sister and I have been dealing with that. It kicked in, and like it's not, most mental illness, whether it's bipolar, whether it's borderline, whether it's narcissism, whether it's dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's, most of them are not something you can just say, get over it, because they don't get over it. Depression, they don't know. But we don't, because again, education-wise, we don't know. That's why, we kind of flippantly say, just get over it.
Right. And I'm sorry to do this thing. I don't know if many people were aware of Dr. Phil. As popular as he is, or his show is and was, because I don't even know if he's still on the air, but, his show got sued because, his branding of help or psychology was like, just get over it. And you had someone who had suffered from mental health challenges actually should sue his show. And it's like, and so we're on his show, they had to put a disclaimer on as they roll the credits. And of course, many people are not reading the rolling credits, but they had to put the disclaimer on the show to say that this is not, a one size fits all, the disclaimer type of remedy for your situation. If you need emotional support, you should call, these numbers. But his style of practice of psychiatry was, it's a bit different. He's that in-your-face type of guy. And unfortunately, the just get over it style does not work.
No, it doesn't,
everyone.
because I've had to deal with family members who struggle with mental illness and emotion and this and the other. And you're absolutely right. I mean, people get depression and sadness confused. They're two different things. Depression and just normal sadness, they're two different things, folks. So yes, this is an opportunity today. Come down to the Health Expo, and all of these different topics will be covered between 11 and 2. So, Dawn, we're down to the end. I'm going to give you the opportunity to shout out and let folks know anything you want them to know in terms of getting in touch with you, your service, your business. The only thing you can't say is a dollar amount, but anything short of that, you can say anything you want. You can't say your fees, this and that, but anything short of that, you can say whatever you want. So I'm going to turn the mic off, and we're getting ready to close out, but you get last word. Okay.
Well, Mark, the words go out to you. I want to thank you for having me on your show. Once again, it's been many moons since I've been up here and interviewed with you, so I definitely appreciate the opportunity. And everyone out there under the sound of my voice, if you're in Patterson, if you're in Passaic County, or wherever you are, if you want to have access to these screenings and services, I encourage you all to come down to the Center City Mall located in Patterson and come see us on the third floor. We'll be, or the second floor, excuse me. We'll be on the second floor, and come take part of the Black Family Wellness Expo, sponsored by the Passaic County chapter of the Links Incorporated. Thank you so much.
I know that's right. Well, it's good to have you. I am so proud of you as, one of the youngsters that we worked with who've really made it. Got a text from Linda Miller. She said, please tell Dawn that I missed the Prosecutor Chronicles.
Yeah, one day, Linda, that's going to be a book. I am still compiling the Prosecutor Chronicles because I used to put them out regularly on social media. But now I might have some judicial chronicles, so I can't write about things like that while I'm as a judge. I can't do that. But they were very. I wanted them to be very tongue-in-cheek and educational at the same time. I tell you, municipal court is better than anything that you'll see on court TV. Anything. Judge Steve Harvey couldn't come up with better stories. He really could.
The reason I'm laughing because we educators say the same thing. Like, you just cannot make this stuff up. It's like, how did you possibly get there? How did you? What was going through your mind? So yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. But Judge Blakely-Harper, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I wish you all the absolute best with your expo today. If you're in the listening audience, let Dawn know you heard her this morning. Go down and let Dawn know when you see her. Let her know you heard her on the air this morning. All right. With that being said, we're going to be out of here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.